So if we line this up with the bottom, we'll notice that our cutout more closely matches with where our bevel is, and on this one I didn't cut it quite right. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Remember, this one was kind of a little bit screwed up. If you follow the lines really well, it'll match better. And if you don't, you can fudge it, because these are not precision instruments of speed and aerodynamics. That's from Cars. Where did my glue go? Here's the glue. So the first thing we need to do here is we want to make sure that when we glue this down, we glue it in a straight line. I've had people glue it where they'll have, like, you know, it'll go through the middle on those parts up there, but then it'll kind of like bow out, and you'll have this kind of wavy, snaky thing. Maybe not that exaggerated, but it's bad enough that it makes the plane fly funny. You don't want that. You want a nice, straight, lined up body, fuselage, whatever. And the reason that it's so easy is because this guy here, this has a lot of flex to it back and forth. We'll fix that later in the build. But right now, when you're gluing this, it's got a lot of flex. And so we want to make sure that we go right down the center of that without flexing it, which is why we put all these marks in, right? So we're going to make sure that that's not under any stress. And we want to line up all of our marks. It's possible that you'll get these three to line up, and that establishes your line here. But then this one will be off a little bit. You'll have to bend it back into place and try and make sure when you do that, that this guy stays pretty straight, right? I mean, if you have a second straight edge, you can verify that it's not curved, you know, that it's not really bent. If you do a good job with these edges, right? That's why I stress that so much. Just make sure you cut your edges flat. You won't have that problem. So we're going to trace this so that we can see it all the way down. And that also pointed out another problem. I forgot to pull this tape up. Before we glue this tape needs to be gone. The reason is we don't want... The glue sticks much better to foam than it does to tape. And so we don't want that tape there. We'll leave the tape on the carbon because it does a really good job of holding the carbon in, but that's only a little bitty piece. So let's go down our other line. Wind up. Okay, so I got a nice line down both sides, pretty well centered. I'm running out of glue, but I think I got enough to finish this. We're gonna smear this just like we did on our other ones. You're gonna goober it up pretty good. A nice big bead, and Edico was nice enough to bring me another half-used tube of glue. We had a bunch of people here earlier today, and we've got half-used tubes of glue everywhere that are all squeezed from the middle.
This is the last.
Okay, and actually I've got pieces where this is maybe too much, so we'll try and slide it down. The nozzle makes an okay squeegee, like you hold it flat and drag it, but when you do that, it's easier to goober it up and makes the lid hard to get on and hard to clean up. But this one's already hard to get on and hard to clean up, so oh well. We're going to take this and we're going to touch it down. We're going to slide it around a little bit. Just get the glue nice and spread. We're going to separate them just like we did before. Try and get those glue strings, okay? And then, just like before, you want to make sure it feels wet, but no puddles. This actually feels dry, so this didn't get enough glue. Down here, wow, that feels a little dry too, but that feels pretty wet. So we'll just redistribute. Redistributing glue. I don't like redistributing wealth, but I'm okay with redistributing glue. And this was still too dry, so I thought I had enough glue, but I guess I didn't. So I'm just barely putting it on there. There we go. One of our guys here today was talking about how good this glue smelled.
That would be rather nice.
But I think
Yeah,
that's
don't sniff this glue too much. He was from India. I had to explain to him that sniffing glue in the United States was how little kids get high. And he probably shouldn't be telling people how much you like to sniff glue. Might not be good for his job. Okay, so now this feels nice and just a little bit wet. It's still a little bit dry.
It's drying
Well, sure, it'll dry as you put it down, but not that fast. So this foam is extra absorbent. Okay, so we're going to stick this down. We're going to line that up right in the middle as much as we can. And see, we're happy we have that line now because it's hard to tell if it's straight without it. I'm going to stick this down.